Here's an interview from one of our past shows on Rock and Metal Revival. If you're interested in hearing full shows, go to our Facebook page and check out our list of affiliates for times and places where you can hear Rock and Metal Revival. There is the latest song from Armored Saint. It's called End of the Attention Span. It is so good to hear new Armored Saint coming out of the speakers again, and we want to welcome back to Rock and Metal Revival lead vocalist John-Bush. Welcome to the Revival, John.
What's happening there, brother? How you doing?
It's doing good. It's great to have you back on the show, and I'm loving what I've heard from the new upcoming release, Punch in the Sky, coming out October 23rd. Now, this is your first studio release from 2015 since you did Win Hands Down, if I'm not mistaken there. And I know how Armored Saint kind of always likes to push the envelope. I'm wondering how Armored Saint has grown since that last release.
Well, I believe that Win Hands Down was a nice. It passed the baton to this new record, Punching the Sky. So it's like a bunch of guys doing a relay race, and Punching the Sky just handed off the baton to Win Hands Down and handed it off to Punching the Sky, and that was a nice stepping stone for us. That's what we like to do. Is we like to just kind of grow on what we did last, and I think that's an imperative way to keep pushing the boundaries, and progress as musicians and writers. I mean, I think that's what we aspire to do, and I'm real proud of our growth. I think we've really showed a lot of growth in the last 5 years, let alone the last 30 years.
Yeah. You know, for our fans out there, I've only heard a couple cuts off the new release so far. What can you tell us about this new album as a whole? Is it a heavier sound for Armored Saint, or what can you tell us, John?
I think it's a record that sounds like a record that came out in 2020. You know, we love the origins of how we started and what we started as, which is basically a metal band that came out in the early mid-'80s from Los Angeles and had a big influence from bands that came out in the '70s before us, bands like UFO and Thin Lizzy and Judas Priest and Iron Maiden and Motorhead and Sabbath and Zeppelin, of course. And we wanted to kind of build on that for our own style and kind of combine the things of hard rock and heavy metal, but we also had a lot of soul and blues in our style. And I think through the years we've just kind of tried to just grow on that. And our attitude when it comes to songwriting is we can do anything. So we can, depend on what the song kind of feels like. If it's a slammer and it sounds like two guitars, bass, and drums, and hits you on the head like a song example of a song like End of the Attention Span, or another song on the record called Missile the Gun, it's like that. Then we have a little bit more deeper track songs like a song called Lone Wolf and a song called Unfair, which has a lot of keyboards and has this moody kind of ambient sound to it. So everything that it can be part of the Armored Saint sound. We try to take chances and just kind of expand on our style. And I'm real proud. Like I said, I think we've shown tremendous growth, and whatever the song kind of seems to want to take on, whatever vibe it is, we just kind of let it kind of write itself and let it roll.
Well, John, with all the craziness going on in the world with the pandemic and the fires and everything going on, and besides keeping you guys from doing live shows as Armored Saint, how has this affected you as an artist? Do you find yourself writing more, or do you find yourself just craving getting out more, just waiting for that chance to get back out on the stage?
Well, once you make a record, you obviously want to go out and play the songs live, and that's just the normal progression. You make a record, you're excited about your new tunes, and you want to perform them live. And then right now, this is kind of a pause button on that, which is weird. We are doing a live stream, and I want to point that out, that people can check that out. October 10th, you can get tickets through the website, which is armoredsaint.veeps, veeps.com. And that's going to be our one and only show, which will be kind of weird because we'll be playing in front of nobody, but cameras and people watching through the cameras, which is going to be peculiar, but we're going to have a good time doing it. It's been an interesting year. You have the crazy environmental stuff that's going on. You have the pandemic. We still have the election to deal with, which is we're in flux, needless to say. But it is great for writing. So, all the mania that's kind of taking place in the world, it certainly helps when it comes to creating fodder for writing lyrics and stuff. And I like to do that. I like to touch in on social commentary, give a little ball busting when I can. It's probably the sense of humor that I have, and kind of writing in metaphors and try to make people think and have them kind of read between the lines and not get everything so blatantly obvious, but still want to write with what's happening in the world. And 2020 has provided a lot of information to help do that. But as a musician, I think it's imperative to put out music, and for us, there was no real hesitation on not putting it out during this time, because you need music right now. You can't go to gigs, so you certainly, and you want to escape some of this baloney that's going on in the world. So put on some headphones, crank the new Saint record, get a glass of wine or have a beer, and check out the Saint. And we feel like that's perfect.
Yeah, I was so excited to see that you guys were putting out a new album, and I was like, man, I'm finally going to get to see Armored Saint on tour, and then touring stopped. But I hope that plans are for once they open up the venues that you guys are going to come back out and play on this record.
Dude, one of my classic memories of a great show was 1984 at Dane County Coliseum with Quiet Riot, Whitesnake, and Armored Saint. I mean, I remember that show vividly because we were fortunate enough to get out there and do, like, on our first tour, go out and play arenas with these bands. And Whitesnake was just incredible every night, and John Sykes and Cozy Powell. And I remember that show because it was a cool arena, and it was the heart of winter, and we were just, we were like wide-eyed, and because it was all new to us. And I distinctly remember that show. So, we'll get out there and play, and I would love to do a show in Madison. Milwaukee's always been a great territory. Metalheads in Wisconsin, they're very loyal, and I've had many great shows there with Anthrax in the past. And we want to play. We're excited. And the good thing is that by the time the record comes out, everybody should know their album and the song. So
exactly,
then it'll be, that'll be the positive. It's like nobody can say, "Oh, I haven't got around to it yet." It's like, what? It's been out 6 months.
Well, John, I know last year you made an appearance on the Ellefson album, Sleeping Giants, on a cut called
cool.
If You Were God. I loved that song. I thought that was outstanding. I was wondering if you got any other side projects that you're working on right now that we can talk about.
Well, that's funny because that was an old song that we recorded years ago. I can't even really remember the year it was done, but Dave asked me if I'd like to sing on a couple demos that he had. I said, yeah, let's do it. So that was the one song that came out of it. And then he asked me recently if he could release it. And I was like, yeah, do it. And Dave Ellison's he's one of the nicest guys ever in heavy metal. Really is. And so anything to do in association with him, the Metal Legion stuff I did with him, and Alex Skolnick and Mike Portnoy was really awesome, and Mark Mengi. So it's just fun playing with amazing peers and musicians. They kind of lift you up. But at the moment, not really. There's once a record is made for me, I have to kind of give a collective sigh and just kind of take it in, because there's a lot of, for me at least, I can't speak for anybody else, but for me there's a lot that goes into the writing process, especially lyrically, and I think that it kind of encompasses where you're at that time. So for me to get back into writing, it takes a little time. I need to kind of refocus and change my whole mentality. And I still have my book of lines and phrases and lyrics. And it's cool because I look back on it after the record was done, and I realized that I used a lot of it. So now I have to fill it back up now with the new ideas and stuff. So it's going to take a little time, but I love writing, and the lyrics is something I still cherish to be able to do and do pretty well. And so it's I'm stoked that I don't really have this huge writing block, because that would suck, and I haven't really experienced that yet. But let some time go by, and then I'll get back into the process of kind of trying to write some more lyrics and stuff. But I have no projects as of now.
Well, I had read earlier on this year that Charlie Benetti and you had reunited in a sense to perform the Sound of White Noise track, Package Rebellion, while in quarantine. How did that go, working together with Charlie again?
That was awesome. You know, it was something that kind of just happened very organically. It was the day that Sound of White Noise came out, 28 years past. It was in May, I think, and somebody had alerted me to that. I didn't even know, and so I just kind of texted, the guys, and I said, hey, congratulations on a great record that came out when it did, and today is the anniversary. And the next thing I know, he sent me this version of him just playing guitar, and like it was maybe even like the first minute and a half of the song. And he goes, "Do you want to sing on it?" And I said, "Yeah, it'd be fun." And so I had to kind of like relearn the tune because, Package Rebellion was a song that we didn't really play a lot live. So I had to go back and listen to it. It didn't take long, but it took some time to kind of remember it and then lay it down in my own little home recording process, which is pretty primitive, quite honest. But it was fun. It was a cool thing because it was just Charlie and guitar and then my vocals. So it was just a different version of the song, and it was, like I said, it was only a portion of the song, but it was cool to do that. Charlie is an awesome, talented musician that I always, really embrace all my years playing with him as well as the other guys in the band because they're just very talented. And like I said, playing with different people brings out something else in you as a musician. And, Charlie is arguably the best metal drummer in the world. So he's just a really talented guy, and it was fun to do that.
Well, John, the times that I've gotten to see you live in concert was when you were with Anthrax, and haven't had a chance to see you with Armored Saint yet, but it keeps floating out around the internet. I've read it 100 times. What about an Anthrax tour with John Bush, Charlie Benetti, and Neil Turbin? Is that just people throwing out rumors, or has there actually been any kind of talk about that?
Oh, you mean Joey Belladonna?
Joey Belladonna.
Charlie.
Yeah,
you gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, it was something that Scott said in an interview. I didn't make it up. Let me make that clear. He said it, and I was like, "Oh, wow!" And I don't know if he was just talking off the cuff and saying, "Hey, this could be a fun project," and maybe it was just a spontaneous moment. So I don't know. People have asked me about it, and I think what I've said is that it really would have to be something that Joey would have to endorse because he's a singer of Anthrax, and he should feel comfortable in his position there, and he shouldn't feel like he's kind of railroaded some idea that it wouldn't be something that he would really want to embrace. So if he embraced the idea, then it could be a fun thing. I don't think it's something that it should be a long process of touring or something. It may be some selective shows here and there. But yeah, it could be fun. Things like that. People are open to it because when you have a long career, you want to touch on all of it. So, and Anthrax certainly has, and there's a lot of nooks and crannies to their career and different things they did. Obviously, different singers. So you never know. Something like that could be fun. Like I said, it would have to be something that I think Joey would have to feel real confident about and support the most. And if he did, then maybe we could do something like that. It could be fun.
That's outstanding. I got to ask, vinyl records outsold CDs for the first time in multiple years this year.
I heard that. Yeah.
Is the new Saint release going to come out on vinyl?
Oh, yeah. Metal Blade does an amazing job with packaging. They do just over the top. They do this really cool, different vinyls, different colors of the record. There's some of them are limited editions, so you have to kind of get in there quickly. But yeah, every record that we've made every record we've made actually has come out in vinyl because obviously we made some in the '80s. But yeah, Metal Blade has put every record out on vinyl that they put out since Symbol Salvation, and this won't be any differently. But it's great. I'm an old school dude, so I love vinyl. I still love CDs. I think CDs are something that I think. Especially metal records for sure, but all music is meant to be listened to in its entirety. That's how artists recorded it. That's how they're meant to be listened to. It's a shame that how the way things have gone over the years of the streaming and people only listen to certain songs and hey, again, that's just not the way I listen to it. When I buy records or I buy a CD and I want to listen to it as the artist intended it to be listened to, and that's a whole record. But again, however people get their music, I guess as long as they're getting it and checking out our records and checking out our songs, I guess that's the most important thing. Obviously, there's a whole new generation of younger kids who listen to music differently, but there's the vinyl product with the packaging and the, sometimes the gatefold, and it's just the best. You can't beat that.